Ike is an overpowered mage and the commander of the Undying Brigade in the Demon Lord's army. However, he hides the fact that he's a human from many of the demons using his skeleton mask. My guy out here looking like Simon Riley. Currently, he leads his brigade on a vicious assault on the city of Arsum. His assistant Jerome has given the orcs the battering ram as ordered, and they have used it to ravage the city walls. The humans are quickly overwhelmed as soon as the breach happens. The captain of the city guard watches from indoors when he's confronted by Ike. From his aura, he already knows that the guy is the commander of this demonic brigade. Ike introduces himself and gives the captain three options. The first is to surrender and turn over the territories to the demons. The next outcome is for the Lord to die by the mage's hands like a man of honor, and the last is for him to flee like a little coward. The leader of the city is surprised to see a demon show mercy, but he rejects all the options presented and tries to attack. But the mage saw this coming and counters with a spell that quickly ends the fight. He stands over the unconscious body of his defeated foe. Jerome rushes into the room to make sure that his master is safe. The pig is surprised to hear the commander order him to tend to the captain's wounds. He even extends this mandate to all the human soldiers who have surrendered. Sapphira watches everything from a crystal ball and is impressed that he managed to capture Arsum with a single brigade and within a week. She's happy that her hunch about Ike's potential was right. Meanwhile, the fake demon erects a powerful barrier around his new office. He looks out of the giant wreckage that signal the end of the battle. Ike feels guilty about hurting so many of his kind. Behind this sinister mask is a big softy because he has never gotten used to the gory nature of war. He removes it to reveal a young pure-blooded human. His teacher was the demon Romberg, who was a great mage. The demon also had secret knowledge of an advanced civilization that once lived in the world. He raised and abandoned Ike despite him being a human and imparted him with all his knowledge and magic. Ike recalls that Romberg gave him some warnings in his last moments. The lad was to never speak of the lost civilization, otherwise it would bring disaster. He was also warned to never remove his robe and mask because the demon lord will never forgive him if his identity was revealed. So our guy is just walking around with a stinky bum. He feels safe in his powerful barrier as no one can enter without his permission. It's a little awkward because the maid Sati was already in the room under the desk when he erected it. She cries pleading for him not to eliminate her, but he's the one who wants to burst into tears because he kept his identity a secret for 20 years and he can't believe that this is how he got found out. Jerome calls his master out for a post-battle update as the two walk the streets. It is revealed that they managed to take the castle, but the assistant feels like they are letting too many humans live. Ike is not worried about that because the new demon lord only cares about results and is not as savage as the last one. The commander explains that there will be less people to pay taxes if they radically reduce the population. Also, Arsum is a trading city, so they need people living in the town so that commerce can continue. He's met by one of the city elders who wishes to know how much taxes they are supposed to pay to the demon lord's army. They are relieved to hear that they will be paying the same amount they usually did to their previous masters. However, he warns them that if anyone resists the demon lord's army, they will be punished regardless of their rank. Suddenly, Ike is transported to a location by Sapphira where a golem attacks him. He evades its assault and blows it away with a power spell. She can't believe how strong the little boy who always used to hide behind his grandfather Romberg has become. We learn that Sapphira is a core commander. She outranks Ike and is the only demon who knows his secret. The young man tells her to just send a messenger if she needs him, but she finds these sudden summons more fun. He guesses that she wants details on what happened in Arsum, but she informs him that her familiars have already told her everything. The reason why she called him is because the current demon lord wishes to see him in person. Sapphira thinks he's the first brigade commander to receive such an honor. She's sure this is because of his impressive feat of taking Arsum in a week. They will be going to the demon lord's castle. She orders him to put his hand on her shoulders as they teleport. Meanwhile, Sati wakes up after collapsing out of fear. She tries to leave, but the barrier prevents her. Ike left her a note and some food for her to enjoy. She tastes it and begins to wolf it down like it was cooked by Gordon Ramsay. During that interval, the two arrive at the Demon King's castle, and the miasma around the area is already affecting Ike since he's a human. A menacing guard stands at the door ready to inspect whoever enters. Ike worries that he will be caught, but Sapphira casts a spell that gives him a demonic aura. The guard is impressed with his magic, but he's not surprised since he's Romberg's grandson. The lad is shocked to learn that every demon knows the name of the master magician. Even in death, Romberg is still famous. Sapphira cuts the chat short since they have an important meeting. The castle was built as a testament to the power and influence of the demon lord. The party party walk through the extremely long hallway. Ike admires Sapphiro's control of the flight spell as she glides along. He can also use it, but only jump up high. The fake demon is told to wait outside while his superior talks to them first. During that interim, Ike drops some exposition about the current demon lord. Darokuten turned the tide of the war against humanity back to their side in a single battle. He's the leader of the demons and the strongest man. According to sources, the boss is a cruel and cold man who will eliminate anyone he deems incompetent, and it doesn't matter if they're friend or foe. But he can utilize their talents to the maximum if he finds something of value in his subjects. He has revolutionized the demon lord's army with this outlook. Naturally, demons do not work well together and fights always erupts among themselves. Darokuten was the one who changed all of that. Ike is excited to meet the highest commander in the army. He keeps his head down as he enters and bows. He's told to raise his head, and the young man is shocked to see that Darokuten is a female. She welcomes him to the demon lord's castle. At this point, are we even surprised? She commends him for bringing down the impregnable fortress city of Arsum in 7 days. He states that he was only following orders and gives the credit to Sapphiro. She finds his humility to be a very human trait. The lad gets scared that his cover has been blown. His superior highlights how Ike is the grandson of the man they call the Guardian of Hell. His background explains his humility, and the demon lord guesses that Ike is a man of deep thoughts. This is why he didn't eliminate the people of Arsum or execute their leader. In fact, the little loss of life is remarkable. The human starts to wonder if he should have acted more like a demon and exterminated more people to fit in. He doesn't think that would have been the right thing to do. He asks for permission to speak and explains that humans will not obey terror even though they fear it. Historically, towns whose leader were executed by demons had less productivity than those whose leaders were left alive to govern. This is better for their army. He confirms that this was the same philosophy Romberg had. Ike has only spoken to Darokuten for a few minutes, and he's almost certain that she knows about the ancient civilization like his granddad. He's sure that she used this knowledge to revolutionize the army. The demon lord teleports into his face and comments on how different he is from other demons. She wishes to see his real face under the mask on their next meeting. She shifts behind, informing him that she expects to see more of the same results. As soon as the place is clear, he falls to the floor gasping for air. He was so tense that he couldn't breathe. He takes his mask off to get more airflow. Sapphiro is surprised because it's the first time she has seen him this nervous. The lad confesses that there is a wimp behind the scary mask. The thing he's worried about is that Darokuten knew that he was wearing one. Sapphiro feels like he should be grateful that she didn't realize that he was a human. His superior reveals that their boss has given him a reward. Although Sapphiro sees it more as a punishment, Ike returns to his office where he meets an empty dish and a sleeping Sati. He kicks the chair for her to wake up. The maid bows down and apologizes manically. She promises to do anything if he doesn't exterminate her. The guy is a little puzzled by her behavior and assures her that he's not going to harm her. She stops her dramatic behavior after hearing this and informs him that her name is 13 when he asks. He finds her name to be strange, so she reveals that indentured servants are always referred to by number, but she also tells him her birth name. I can't let her go now that she knows he's a human. She jumps all over him, promising that she will not tell a soul. He lets her know that he believes her, but he wants her to be his maid from now on, and she gladly accepts. It is later revealed that Ike was made the ruler of Ivalius, and Jerome congratulates him. He recalls the moment Sapphiro told him he wondered why he was given that territory. She disclosed how it's further south than Arsum, and it's now the new front line of the war. Even though it's a small town, she told him that it's critical to their army. Ike's mission is to protect the area and double the current tax revenue. If he succeeds, the IRS will like to know his location. He complains about the tax targets since they are in wartime, but he's told to shut up or he will be given a more demanding goal. Presently, he informs his men that this will be the front lines of the battle against humanity. They could be attacked at any time, so they must fix the destroyed town, which was caused by Sapphiro. Jerome informs his master that it will take 6 months to repair the walls. He thinks that's too long and feels like they can do it in 1 month. Ike uses both the human and demons to complete the work. Jerome is shocked by how he managed to get the two groups to work together. He even has them working in 8-hour shifts so that progress is being made 24/7. The commander even pays them to give further incentive. The mage shows them that he's the alpha when he displays his power by destroying a giant rock the demons were struggling to move. Meanwhile, another unit of the Demon King's army mount an assault on Rosaria, and they manage to break through their city walls. The boss of the devils is informed about their excellent progress. However, her attention is drawn to the Alliance Rosaria Rosaria is making with their neighbors to turn the tide of the war. The demon lord knows exactly who can deal with this. Ike obliviously sits in his office not knowing the work he's about to be given while Sati brings him a cup of tea. All the while, a high-ranking noble summons Alistair, the commander of the White Rose Knights, and orders her to retake Ivalius. He can't allow other nations to continue to take advantage of them. We cut to the streets of Rosaria where a con man sets up a simple game where he promises to double whatever money is bet if the person can guess the location of the ball under the cup. Sati is among the crowd and picks a cup. The swindler is surprised to hear that she doesn't have money to bet. However, the rat, who is also a thirsty creep, takes a good look at her natural assets and can think of something else she can bet with. Before he reveals that she got it wrong, a gust of magic wind lifts all the cups up to show that they were all empty. Those who have already lost get irate because he was cheating. They begin to gang up on him while Ike quickly comes to escort Sati from the situation. He scolds her a little because a maid is not supposed to abandon their master. The lady apologizes and explains that all the new sights and sounds got her carried away, but she's surprised to see him without his outfit. So Ike explains that their goal is to scout the enemy so his normal attire will draw too much attention. The two later grab an orange to eat as they walk, and judging from the number of troops around, it seems like the reports about the Alliance of Kings was true. This is an ancient pact where countries join forces in times of danger regardless of national interests. This alliance has been formed 3 times throughout history. The defeat of the Demon Lord's army has been the result each time. The L was always so bad that the demon was pushed back to Doverberg Castle. The maid worries that it will happen again this time. Ike is a little confused as to why she wouldn't want the humans to win since she's a human herself. He is baffled by her position since she would be free if the Demon Lord's army were pushed back. Sati discloses that in human society, the offspring of an indentured servant also retains that status for the rest of their lives. So if Ike was to abandon her, she would end up like the locked up young people they see around. The mage assures her that the demons will not lose because their current boss is the strongest and wisest in history. From that revelation, Ike can see that both demons and humans have a lot of problems in their society and wonders how they can change this. Ike wants to know why the soldiers are rushing around like that, so he asks his maid to follow as he continues his investigation. They are told to halt by the beaten-up crook. He's sure that Ike was the one who revealed his trick and demands compensation in the form of money or the maid. He has brought some muscle to make sure this happens. Ike looks around to be certain that there are no witnesses before he freezes the big guy's legs. He then summons some icicles and demands they answer his question if they want to live. The mage cuts the rat's arm to make it clear that he's serious. Ike questions them on what the army is doing in the town since they seem frantic. The swindler reveals that the Alliance of Kings has been activated. However, Rosaria wants to retake the fallen city since reports talk about how poorly defended it is. Ike guesses that the nation would like to score a big win before the alliance is fully formed. This will give them more leverage during their strategy councils and increase their influence after the war. But if Rosaria fails, they will be in a terrible situation. After getting his info, Ike walks away, leaving the crooks in that state as they beg to be released. He returns to the office to give his report when Lilith interrupts. The lady complains that she couldn't find him anywhere. She also gets jealous seeing Sati with him and demands to know who she is. The human introduces herself as Ike's maid. Lilith gets nasty and calls her ugly and offers to be his maid while hugging him. Sati controls her anger and politely tells the demon to leave her master as he's tired. Their arguing turns to a face-off that even Jerome the pig is scared to get in between lest he be turned into bacon. Later, the White Rose Knights prepare for their attack just outside Ivalius. Some of them are a little on edge by how quiet the area is. Their intuition was right because the demons launch a surprise attack as Alistair is about to give the signal to fire rocks. The humans get quickly overwhelmed, so their commander gives the order for them to retreat. Ike watches on from the safety of the city wall, and Jerome comments on how it was a good call by Alistair for them to retreat. The pig gives praise to his master for being able to predict the attack due to his excellent intel gathering mission. As Ike tries to downplay his achievement, an assassin shoots an arrow that hits his back, causing him to fall to the ground. Word of the White Rose Knight's loss reaches the high-ranking noble. He doesn't want to hear any excuses for the fat L and gives the order for the imprisonment of Alistair. The officer advises against such an action since she's one of their nation's finest generals, as it will affect the soldiers' morale. But the noble could care less about the peasants. He just wants her to take responsibility for her failure, otherwise he can't look into the eyes of their king. Meanwhile, Ike regains consciousness and is bandaged up, but he's more surprised to find Sapphiro next to him. She informs him that she was resting after saving his life. The mage doesn't even know what happened to him. The demon informs him of the arrow he took to the back. However, she did such a good job healing him that not even a scar is left. He thanks her, but she's more worried that he fought another battle where no human fatalities were recorded. She worries that that the demon lord will start to get suspicious, Ike reveals his goal to find a way for humans and demons to live together. So this is another come by and see. This will never happen if they are catching bodies. She advises him to rest a little longer before disappearing. The mage inspects the arrow and wonders if him getting shot from the back meant that someone infiltrated the castle. He quickly puts on his mask before Lilith runs into the room. She is so happy that he's safe as she hugs him. Sati joins in too as he assures them that he's fine. The two get into another face-off over being close to Ike. Jerome decides to get involved this time and kicks Lilith out so that Ike can rest. She gets angry and roasts the pig so hard that he starts to smell like bacon. All the while the maid gives him a thumbs up of appreciation for his sacrifice. Ike tells the pig that he's not ugly. The master also orders him to find out Alistair's current location. After getting that information, Ike goes to the prison that she's being held at due to her failure. Lilith announces her presence by commenting on how scary the place looks. She doesn't want her love interest to come to such a dangerous place alone, but the mage would like to ask Alistair something in person. He doesn't remember asking Lilith to join him. She figured that he might also like some company, plus she's a little salty that he took Sati on his last trip. Ike just wants Lilith to be quiet if she's going to follow him. The duo arrives at the prison and notice that the place is not well guarded. His goal is to infiltrate as quietly and peacefully as possible, and before he even finishes his sentence, Lilith has already knocked out the guards. They proceed inside, and the mage can see it's going to be a chore to locate her cell, but his partner has already gotten the keys and the location of Alistair from one of the guards. She also volunteers to deal with the guys who come running in to apprehend them after spotting the intruders. Ike calmly enters the room and is puzzled that the prisoner is not around. Alistair was hiding behind the door and attacks from behind. The mage quickly disarms and knocks her down. He backs off when he realizes that the commander is a female. She thinks he came to laugh at her, but he just wants to know if she sent an assassin to finish him during their last battle. She doesn't answer, but upon closer inspection of Ike, she wonders if he's really a demon. Their discussion is interrupted as more guards start to flood the area. Alistair holds him at knife point, demanding to know if he's a human. As the guards get closer, she orders him not to move as she demands an answer. Ike obeys her order and casts a spell that dulls the senses of those around him. This makes them feel like time has been stopped, creating an opening for him to blow away the guards. A heavily armored guy tries to ambush the mage, but he dodges and pins him down with a gravity spell. The weight breaks the metal platform, causing him to fall down the great height. Ike cushions his fall, and Alistair wonders why a demon would save his enemy. Her footing crumbles, causing her to also fall, but Ike jumps down and holds her before any harm comes to her. The commander of the White Rose Knights quickly gets down from his hands when she realizes that she's safe. Ike remembers that he hasn't introduced himself and does so. Alistair has now set eyes on the one who protected Ivalius with overwhelming power. The mage decides to answer her question by letting her know that it is impossible for a member of the Demon Lord's army to be a human. He asks her again if she's the one who sent the assassin to eliminate him during their battle. Alistair lets him know that she has nothing to say to a demon, so he should end her life if that's what he's there to do. Ike hits her with the classic cabinet, but he puts a twist on it as he reads her mind as he gets closer. Lilith deals with the guards that were worrying them and gets jealous when she comes to find the mage so close to a human female. She questions why he's flirting with the woman when she's around. Ike ignores her pointless rambling. He informs the knight that he's leaving, but she demands to know if he came just to laugh at her for serving her with a spectacular L. But the mage assures her that that is not the reason for the visit. More importantly, he has just confirmed that she didn't have anything to do with the assassination attempt. Alistair is confused as to how he knew this. He reveals that her mind was unclouded during the mind reading. The only advice he gives is that she shouldn't be so self-critical, since it's a natural reaction to losing something that was important. As they leave, Lilith wants to stop somewhere for them to relax before they go back, but Ike points out how he can do that just fine at his home. He arrives back and is greeted by Sati. He pulls out a small pouch and pours some raw rice into her hand, informing her that he brought a present from the capital city of Lazes. The maid is a little confused initially since it's her first time seeing it. Ike explains that he has been ordered to double the amount of taxes he collects from the city. Ivalius is an agricultural city with fertile soil, and currently they mostly grow wheat. However, rice is significantly more productive. This means they can grow more rice in a smaller area. If they can produce more food, this means they need less farmers, so the people who are no longer needed to grow food can instead craft weapons or bricks. There will also be an increase in services, which will help them grow rich. He can see that the maid is struggling to follow because she is a little bit stupid, so he simply informs her that they will get to eat more food and make a lot of tax money in the process. He tasks Sati with cooking the rice and sings her a little song which has clues on how to prepare the grain. He's not sure how to make it either, so he asks her to decipher it. She is motivated to be of use to her master, so assures him that she will figure it out. All the while, Ike has another important job to attend to. He orders Jerome to summon their unit at the main square. From all the clues he has gathered so far, he concludes that the attacker wanted to make it look like it was the White Rose Knights. He doesn't want to admit it, but he's starting to suspect that there is a spy in his army. He casts the mind-reading spell to find his traitor. Through the spell, he finds out that Jerome is just a fanboy of his, which disturbs him a little. He swiftly moves past him and sifts through his men until he finds one little ratty-looking demon that is wondering if he's being caught. Ike stops his search and confronts the spy. After getting some information from him, he pays Sapphiro a visit. She already knows that he's come because of the traitor. He reveals it to be her Vice Commander Jace, who is the one-eyed goblin. Ike is surprised that she's not surprised. Sapphiro already suspected so. The goblin is highly intelligent and a veteran warrior. The demon lady can only think of one way to deal with this. Jace later gets word that Ike went to see his commander. He's impressed that the guy has already recovered from the arrow hit. The shooter assures the Vice that he shot Ike through the chest. A report comes in that they can't get hold of their spy. The one-eyed goblin feels like they need to gather their forces and attack if their man has been captured. Another report comes in informing him of Ike's arrival. Jace comes to greet him with his entire unit. The mage confronts him about his treason, prompting the Vice to give the order to attack, but a hail of fireballs by Sapphiro stops them in their tracks. She orders her men to deal with the traitor. Ike gives Jace the chance to surrender, but the goblin sends his guys to eliminate the mage. He uses this opportunity to slip away as Ike deals with his attackers, but Jace is confronted by a huge demon who tries to end him with a punch. He dodges and uses a smoke bomb to create another chance for him to escape through a portal. He appears in the forest just outside the city. He is happy that he created this secret path. Jace gives them this victory, but makes it clear that the real war is just beginning. But suddenly, a fireball comes out of nowhere and blows him back. Ike appears, telling him to give up. The one-eyed veteran wants to know how he knew about the path. Turns out the mage and one of his familiars follow him. Jace squashes it out of frustration. Ike just wants him to surrender because any resistance is futile. The Vice Commander attacks to remind the mage that he's no scrub, but Ike blocks. The mage informs him that his attacks are too weak to break his shield and counters by knocking him back and binding him with some vines. Ike declares the fight to be over, so Jace concedes and says sorry. He admits that he can see why the army holds him in such high regards. The Vice thinks that Ike has a lot of talent. The mage has unstoppable magic and he's smart. With this combination, Jace has a proposal for him. He wants them to team up and take over the Demon Lord's army together, since they have fought the humans for far too long. However, the current Demon Lord has done nothing for them. By nature, they take joy in subjugating and attacking humans, but their current boss doesn't allow them to eliminate the humans. Many demons in the army don't like this. Jace is not sure whether their commander lacks ambition or talent, but one thing he's certain of is that she doesn't want to be Demon Lord. Based on this, he would like them to change things and offers him to join them, but Ike rejects. The goblin did expect this and tries one more attack by throwing a knife, but the mage dodges. He questions on who else is part of their plan. Sapphiro arrives and doesn't have the patience to play nice to get this information. Ike is opposed to her more aggressive methods and pleads for her to let him handle this. Jace starts to react to a poison that has nothing to do with Sapphiro. The mage tries to save him with an antidote spell, but it doesn't work. Sapphiro concludes that he has been given a powerful poison. I can't believe that this hidden force would do this to their own comrade and calls them cowards. Sapphiro asks Jace to tell her the names so that she will get revenge for him, since it seems like they have abandoned him. With his dying breath, he tells them the names. I kind of feel sorry for him, but Sapphiro states that he deserves this. The mage thinks that his human heart's ability to feel pity might cause him problems one day. The two later report the treason to the Demon Lord. They reveal that the one who is at the head of this is the Third Corps Commander Bastio. The Demon Lord wants proof, so Sapphiro points out the action of her Vice Commander Jace. Their leader asks a knight who has a light for a head what he has to say, so the duo turn to hear him out. Turns out that the knight is Bastio, and he's already told the Demon Lord that Ike and Sapphiro have eliminated the Vice Commander just to frame him because they are planning to steal the Third Corps from him. He even takes shots at Sapphiro, stating that this is the plot to be expected from a witch. This triggers her, but she stands down when her boss orders it. The Demon Lord already understands that it's in their nature to seek more power, wealth, glory, and influence, so she would end up with no army if she's to eliminate her men because of their ambition. She makes Bastio aware that she has seen through his plot. The Demon Lord doesn't doubt Sapphiro's loyalty. However, as a Corps commander, she's responsible for not making sure that her men maintain their loyalty. The witch is already aware of this. Their boss activates her powers and demands that she should punish both for their code of laws. But she doesn't want to lose two Corps commanders when she's in the middle of a war with the humans. The Demon Lord cannot also ignore this matter, so she reveals that the two will fight in a duel and the winner will be judged as being correct. Sapphiro later informs Ike of the duel's details. After receiving it from the Demon Lord, it will be held using magical creatures known as puppets. The commanders will be the representative of their teams, so will not participate in the battle themselves. Each leader will control 50 puppets, and a win is decided when one side's puppets are completely wiped out. The losing commander will forfeit their lives on the spot. The witch is sure that the Demon Lord has chosen this complicated format to test their skills. Sapphiro finds the boss to be most unusual. The commanders can appoint stand-ins for the duel, so she wants Ike to fight for her. The guy agrees without hesitation, but he lets out a scream when his brain finally processes the request. He feels like she should go herself since her life is on the line. Sapphiro says that she has picked the path that will most likely lead to her victory. The witch confesses that Ike's talents and skills as a commander already exceeds hers, but she's still a better core leader overall. Sapphiro holds his hands as she informs him that she's entrusting him with her life. The lad later heads to the battle area to survey the place. He still finds the witch to be strange for entrusting him with such a big burden. Ike turns his attention on finding a way to win this, so they go to the room where his puppet army is being held. They follow their commander's orders to the letter, and they're the same strength across the board, so it's a true measure of leadership ability. Both sides are also giving swords and shields as standard. Ike goes back to the office to draw up a battle plan. Sati brings him some tea, so he asks her of her opinion on how she would win a battle. The maid doesn't want to fight and would rather resolve problems over tea. Ike completely agrees with her, but knows that there are people who will not be satisfied unless they fight. The two continue their discussion on what she would hypothetically do, and the girl brings up the use of crossbows since they are very effective. Ike loves that idea, but he wants something more powerful and unorthodox. He jolts as the idea of making guns comes to his mind. The maid has never heard of it before. He explains that they are more potent than a crossbow. They can shoot down an enemy from a great distance. He's confident that Sapphiro will be able to help him make it since she's an incredible alchemist, but his hopes are crushed when she informs him that it's out of the realms of her capabilities. The witch chills in a pool and commends Ike for the sunglasses he invented. It's crazy that she's so calm considering her life is on the line. Sapphiro even invites him to splash around with her. All the while Bastio is also looking to upgrade the weapons of his puppets. Blades are presented to him that are made from the fangs of a black dragon, so it can cut anything. The knight commander is impressed with it. His sniper comes to report and assures Bastio that he will win from his survey and preparations. Later, Ike comes out after a hot shower. Someone hands him his jacket, so he thanks them thinking it's one of his aides. The guy is shocked to see that it was the Demon King. He freezes for a moment before bowing down. He's perplexed as to what she's doing in the area, especially when he's in his human form. But he feels like this could be his advantage because she has never seen him with his mask off, so he can pretend to be someone else. The boss throws some covered items on the ground and demands he open it. The guy is shocked to see a bunch of guns. She's sure it meets his specification as she calls him by name, but the guy tries to deny it. The Demon Lord bluntly tells him to stop the cap because Romberg already told her everything about how the old man has given Ike all his knowledge and magic. She doesn't care if he's a human because she needs people who are willing to fight for her to attain her dreams. The leader of the demons want to build the world she desires with these loyal people. She is confident that Ike has much to offer her and is happy that the guy has accepted her demands. She teleports out of the room since her delivery has been completed. I think she would make a good UPS worker. Ike later calls Sapphiro and Jerome to show them the guns. He informs them that it was the Dragon Lord that prepared it for him. After seeing the weapon, the witch is willing to make the bullets out of lead, but Ike informs her that her first attempt is too big. He shows her how he needs them to be small enough to fit into the barrel of the gun. The witch complains how detailed work makes her skin a mess. A sudden explosion confirms to the maid that Fiorentina has created what he has asked for. The lady steps in to confirm this. She is confused as to how the combination of materials he requested she put together caused an explosion. Ike alerts her that it's called gunpowder. Sapphiro gives him the final version of the bullets, which are perfect. He requests that she make another 500. She pushes the work to Fiorentina and leaves. Jerome wants to help, but he's rejected. The day of the battle comes, and Ike stands there with his army who are only holding shields. After seeing his lineup, Bastio is confident that he will win. He reveals that the Demon King gave him Damascus steel to cover his puppets with. This is so strong that it can't be penetrated by a spear or an arrow. The third corps commander feels like this gift means that their boss wants him to win. After hearing this, Ike concludes that the Demon King's gifts to both parties is part of the test. He hopes to get answers after he wins. The announcer introduces the duel between the two commanders before commencing the battle to begin. The crowd of demons cheer as Bastio's puppets swiftly take out the units with the shield. shields, his confidence quickly evaporates when a shot of the gun rips through his precious Damascus armor. Everyone is confused as to what is going on. Ike orders them to fire as one group reloads while the other team shoots before they switch. They quickly eliminate Bastio's army in front of his eyes. The commander can't believe it. The demon lord wastes no time and comes down to offer the knight the option to end things himself or for her to do it. Bastio has his sniper in position and informs the boss that he chooses the third non-existent option. The arrow flies towards the demon king, but she catches it. The commander expected this, which is why he had a bomb at the end. It explodes and triggers some more to go off in the stands. He summons his unit to attack as he proclaims himself to be the new demon king. Ike just quietly watches, knowing that the guy messed up. But nevertheless, the operation of overtaking the demon army begins, and Bastio's army of traitors are sending the resistance to the shadow world with arrows and swords, while Bastio's words to kill all who resist echoes in the arena. He further proclaims that the world belongs to him from this day forth. Ike just looks around confused on what to do as his comrades are being sliced and diced before his eyes. I mean, he could have helped at least, but I guess he didn't get along with those who were getting eliminated. But anyway, Bastio addresses Ike, telling the mage that it is not too late to join him since he will soon have control of the demon lord's army, and as a bonus, he will allow Ike to take charge of the 7th Corps. The mage scans the battlefield and responds that though it is an appealing offer, it is not an offer he is willing to discuss with Bastio. The traitor is perplexed by his answer and asks him why, to which Ike responds that no matter how much Bastio dreams of being the demon lord, it is something he will never achieve. Lamphead, as Charlie Mar 5872 appropriately calls him, finds his answer to be hilarious and calls Ike stupid and lacking functional brain cells. Right then, the army of skeletons and goblins surround Ike after dealing with the fodder. Bastio orders his men to eliminate the mage, forgetting that Ike is the MC, so the human does what MCs do and destroys the first wave with a magic spell. Lamphead is furious about this and commands the rest of his soldiers to take care of the mage, but Ike summons some projectiles that pierces a number of them. One of the skeletons takes matter into its own hands and detaches its head to launch as a grenade against the back of Ike, but it has no effect on him. He jumps in the air and carries on his beatdown, which puts the fear of God inside Bastio as Ike flies towards him to finish the traitor off with a magnificent blast spell. When all looks like it is over with only Ike standing, Lamphead's head rolls into scene and he begins to laugh hysterically. The mage is shocked to see that the traitor survived. Bastio reiterates that an attack like that was never going to stop them in their tracks, since him and his army are all undead. This is something Ike should have considered, seeing as he is the leader of the Undying Brigade. It is revealed that Bastio is a Dullahan, and he orders his resurrected men to attack at once. The mage deals with them in the same manner, but with them being undead, they keep on coming, and if this carries on, he will soon run out of magic. Ike comes to terms with his situation after surviving the same arrow that took out the Demon King. He acknowledges that he is wasting magic, so he must therefore come up with another way, since darkness magic doesn't work on the undead. Just one more attack, he releases a new power that erases a portion of the army, like what Thanos did to half the universe. Bastio looks on very confused because he now knows that he might be in deep trouble. The assassin who took out the Demon Lord is witness to all of this and draws his weapon to shoot, but his arm is cut off by Sapphiro, who has come to save the day with her army. The traitor is irate to see Sapphiro, but a voice tells him not to worry about her because Ike is his challenger. And when he turns around, surprise, surprise, it is the Demon Lord who sits there unharmed and unscratched. She dashes towards him and tells him that she will give him one more chance. All he has to do is win his duel against Ike, and she promises not to kill him. With this new chance, he drops full of enthusiasm to take the mage's head. The two run toward each other and begin their clash. Ike puts up a barrier, but Bastio's strong blows slowly chip away at it whilst he calls the mage a weakling. Ike finds an opening and jumps in the air, so the two launch a long-range assault at each other. But Ike uses that power from before and disintegrates his opponent's arm, which leaves Bastio shocked. As soon as Sapphiro sees it, she knows that it is white magic that Ike is displaying. She also notes that the Demon Lord doesn't look the least bit surprised. At this point, I think that's just her facial expression. We get a flashback of how Romberg saved Ike from a pack of hungry wolves who had already eliminated his parents while trying to save their baby. Romberg took the orphan in and decided to raise him up as a demon and teach him magic. As he grew up, the boy was interested in learning a type of magic that could give life to a wilted flower. His teacher informed him that only white magic could do that, so the boy asked to be taught that magic. But since he is supposed to be a demon, and learning white magic is difficult for demons due to the fact that they lack a compassionate heart to which white magic draws from, it therefore wouldn't make sense for him to learn it, since it will expose his true nature as a human. Romberg warned him that white magic is more frightening than any weapon to creatures who possess demonic powers, so if Ike was to learn it, he must make sure that those around him cannot know that he can use it. So with all that cleared up, his master taught him white magic. Back to the present, and Bastio is charging at Ike like the fool he is, but he gets pushed back and is given a lesson in morality. The mage tells him that he could never be the demon lord because he doesn't have the capacity. Ike points out how he was prepared to sacrifice his men and turn on his comrades and master only to achieve his selfish ambitions. For Ike, he refuses to live in a world where the ruler oppresses their people, and that is why he would never forgive Bastio, because he believes that the lamp head is a dickhead. But Bastio is pissed and charges up an attack to finish the mage off. Ike internally apologizes to his teacher, saying he has no choice but to use white magic. After the clash, the traitor begins to disintegrate like when Dettel hits the bacteria, and just like that, Bastio is 100% dead because Ike ain't got time for 99.9%. Sapphiro approaches and asks him if he learned that spell from Romberg, which he confirms. She also admits that she knew all of this will happen, and that is why she refused the duel, so that she could prepare properly to support Ike. The Demon Lord reminds them of her presence. Now that Bastio has perished, the Third Corps has no leader, so she proposes that Ike should take up the position. She gives him time to think about it before disappearing. Later in the Demon Castle, Sapphiro expresses her frustration that the Demon Lord intends to take Ike away from her, but she is told to know her place and they should therefore wait for Ix's response. When he finally arrives, he refuses the position for the reason that he still wants to be under Sapphiro, as he still has a lot to learn. Ever since he took over the town of Ivalius, he has seen a positive change where the demons and humans are getting along, and seeing that his ultimate goal is to have humans and demons coexist, he is happy in the position he's in at the moment. He finally removes his mask and officially confesses to the Demon Lord that he is a human, but of course she knew all along. After the meeting, he and Sapphiro make their way back, and she doesn't understand why he revealed himself to their master and demands to know what is going on and why the Demon Lord was not surprised. All the while the Demon Lord watches them from her large window. After the meeting, Ike stands over a vantage point overlooking his city, thinking about how he can achieve his dreams. His assistant comes to check on him to see if everything is okay. He informs her that all is well and just discovered that the soil and climate of the town is conducive for a farming system known as the Norfolk system. It allows different crops to be grown without allowing the fields to rest. Later that day, he demonstrates the technique to the rest of the villagers, and they are all happy that with Ike's idea, they will never go hungry again. As he does some paperwork that evening, he is served by the maid and congratulated on his promotion to vice commander. Giron suddenly barges in to inform Ike of trouble regarding the alliance of kings and their movement. They began their assault the night prior and easily took out the Second Corps of the Demon Army tasked with taking over the city of Alesta. Giron is especially concerned because a corps well known for being bloodthirsty and having skilled warriors were defeated that quickly. Sati doesn't know what the alliance of kings is, so Ike explains that it is an agreement by humans to come together and destroy the Demon Lord's army once it becomes too much for one nation to handle. And anytime this has happened, the Demon army has always taken an L, and by looking at their movement, the city of Ivalius, which is under Ike's control, is their next target if they want to reclaim the strategic location of Arson. With everything considered, the humans hold the advantage when it comes to numbers and teamwork, though the demons are strong when it comes to one-on-one. That isn't enough to defeat the humans. And once the demon army falls and Arsenum has been taken, the battle will be pushed all the way back to the Demon Lord's castle in Doberberg. If this happens, Ike's dream of cohabitation between humans and demons will go up in smoke. However, Ike has a plan to incapacitate their overwhelming numbers, and his idea involves the guns. He later has a meeting with the person involved with mass producing the weapons, and she informs him that building the firearms with alchemy is impossible because they break after only being fired once. Alchemy has a limit when it comes to precision, so if it were to be used to mass produce the weapon, the power and durability will be terrible. Sapphiro doesn't understand why they can't just use magic, so Ike explains that it will cause mass destruction, which will then make it difficult to rebuild. He wants a fight against the Alliance with a weapon anyone can use. The lady in charge of the operation suggests that the only way to mass produce will be to build the smaller metal and wooden pieces by hand, which will be difficult, so she suggests that they ask for the help from the dwarves, who are master craftspeople. However, ever since their defeat against the humans, they have been scattered around the place, so gathering a large amount of them to mass produce the firearms will be a difficult task. The only way to achieve this will be to rescue the dwarf king, who is currently being held captive by the humans. We get a flashback to how they lost to the humans who wanted to use their technology to fight in wars. They were ultimately forced to work for the humans, or else they would have lost their lives. The rest were forced into exile, while the king was kept prisoner. He sits in his cell wondering what happened to his people and what they are up to. His peace and quiet is disrupted by laughter, and when he looks outside his cell, he sees the guards knocked out on the floor. This is the doing of Lilith and Jerome, who have come to rescue him. He is confused by all of this and demands to know what is going on. But Lilith knocks him out because he is making too much noise. Though Jerome is against her actions, he picks the king up and they make their escape. After clearing through some guards in the corridors, they emerge from underground to find themselves surrounded by a few guards. The duo were told to be discreet by Ike and not to eliminate anyone, but Ike can see from a distance that they have attracted a lot of attention. He puts an end to the chase by casting an earth spell that blocks off the soldiers. They take the king for him to rest up, and when he regains consciousness, he wants to know why they took him out of his cell. So Ike presents him with the weapon and asks if he can make another one of them. Though the dwarf has never seen the likes of it before, he is confident that it can be replicated despite its complexity. But he refuses to help them because he believes that the demons have the same objective as the humans. However, Ike informs him that his dream is much different. He isn't looking for world domination, but rather, his aim is for humans and demons to live together in peace. But when he hears this, the king thinks that the guy has lost his mind, but Ike takes him to the city where he can see for himself how the demons and humans working together in harmony. Even though the king is inspired, he still holds a grudge against the humans who used his people and then destroyed their home, leading them to wander around the world. So he would hate to see the humans living in peace. Ike understands his resentment, but he proposes that if the king can help him with the production of the weapons, then he will tell the demon lord to rebuild the dwarf kingdom. The king is offended by this and thinks Ike is mocking him, because to rebuild a nation requires people, and since he has lost his people and family, his kingdom can never be rebuilt. So Ike shuts him up and takes him to a location where a number of dwarves have been gathered. He even sees his son named Batson, and the others are very relieved to see their leader. We come to learn that the king's name is Gunther, and they tell him how the demons have been very kind to them and how they brought them all together. After seeing all of this, Gunther agrees to help the demons achieve their dream of unity with the promise of their kingdom being re-established. Elsewhere at the camp of the humans, they receive news that the demons took the dwarf king. The general finds this to be an interesting move, but he isn't too worried since he doesn't see the old man as capable of doing anything. If that's the case, why did you have him in prison then? Whatever. Someone comes to report that they have 500 forces at Ivalius. However, more soldiers will be joining them, so that number should increase. And in their current location, the general has an army of 12,000 men. After hearing this, he says that it's time to get going. Elsewhere, Ike goes on an exploration mission with two comrades to locate materials for the war. They spot the cave and enter to find the natural saltpeter they are looking for, after which they return to the city where the dwarves are hard at work producing the weapons. Gunther presents what looks like a finished product, and it looks good as more are produced and stored away. Jerome oversees the training of a few goblins on how to fire the weapon, and when he sees the damage, he is pleasantly surprised. The rest of the demon army are also gathering, and the leaders of specific groups have a meeting with Ike. One of them is surprised that Ike managed to fix the gate in such a short period of time and wants to know the type of magic that was used. However, Ike informs him that it was all done in shifts with the help of paid labor by the humans, since it is more effective than enslaving them. One of the other leaders arrives late and crashes through the ceiling. He greets the rest and acknowledges Ike's promotion and addresses him by his new title of vice commander. The meeting begins, and Commander Sapphiro has put Ike in charge of the battle, so everyone is to follow his orders, to which none of them object due to their immense respect for him. Although they are outnumbered by 10,000 men, Ike has a plan. One of the leaders suggests that they attack at night, but the vice commander explains that that wouldn't work because it is confirmed that their enemies have mages amongst them who are capable of using light magic and detection magic. Ike suggests that the battle should be fought in his city. His philosophy is that although a large army is even stronger when things are going well, they tend to collapse very quickly when things are against them. He wants the enemy to attack the city, so that when their morale is very high, the demon army will annihilate them completely in one swoop, which will result in minimum casualties. After the meeting, Sati and Jerome clean the place, and she tells her master that although she cannot fight, she can help prepare for the upcoming war. She wants to be able to feed the soldiers good food rather than just soup, so Ike shows her a recipe for fried rice. The girl goes into the kitchen and whips up the rice in record time. When she presents it to Ike for sampling, Jerome and Lilith come in complaining that they were going to eat without them, so both of them are also served a bowl to which they all enjoy, apart from Ike, who will eat his later since he cannot disclose his real identity. After everything has been prepared, a lookout stands on a tower and spots the enemy, so his unit alerts everyone. Night comes and both armies have gathered and are ready to engage. The human general general is disappointed by the small number of demons. They are so little that he doesn't consider this a war but rather a termination. The order is given for the battle to begin, so the human foot soldiers charge while the boulders and huge spears are launched towards the city. However, Ike erects a magic barrier which protects them all. They keep repeating this, but Ike's defense doesn't budge, so the human mages are summoned to cast a spell that dispels the barrier, resulting in the demons suffering casualties. Now that the magical wall is down, the human unit fully charge ahead. However, when they reach the front, they are met with a huge demon that flattens them with enormous boulders, which puts fear inside some of the humans. But the archers retaliate with a number of shots that take out the giant. It turns into a long-range battle between the two, so the humans aim to get closer by deploying ladders to scale the wall, but they keep getting pushed back by the demons. The human general can see what is going on and would like to end the battle quickly before dinner because he likes to have his food in peace. So he tells his army to fire the catapults again even though his men are at the wall. His right-hand man tries to protest, but the general stands firm. The projectiles are launched, and Ike's magic is immobilized again, leaving everyone open to the incoming fire. This time around, the damage is more significant as it has left a hole in the outer wall and completely crushed both enemy and ally. The general orders his second unit to charge forward where they clash with the demons. The intense exchange leaves many casualties as the human general sips a cup of tea like an old lady resting on her couch watching daytime TV. He gives the order for the third unit to advance. Ike watches, surprised by how things are progressing faster than he anticipated. During that interim, Sati leads the medics as they tend to the injured. The humans continue to swarm the castle with overwhelming numbers. Jerome stands ready with his rifle unit, but he worries about hitting their allies who are too close to the enemy. The werewolves solve this problem by dashing in and quickly pushing back the humans with their decisive offense. The invaders try to tag team the demons, but the rifle fire pushes them back further, forcing them to retreat. It is revealed that Ike wants the units to fight in shifts so that no one draws too much of the enemy's attention. This will also give each unit the chance to recover to full strength. Fiorentina uses her alchemy to plug up the giant hole, which is short-lived because the leader of the ogres makes another hole in the wall. She understands that part of Ike's plan was that some of their allies wouldn't follow instructions, but their actions are just frustrating. The ogre boss doesn't want any mercy to be shown to the humans as they pummel them to the ground. He's interested to see the next phase of their commander's plan, all the while Jerome saves Fiorentina from getting eliminated. Those two are important for the plan because their units will be used to guide the humans to attack a specific point. This is all with the aim to end this war with as little casualties as possible. The mortals prepare to unload another barrage with their catapults when the fanged flying beasts drop boulders on them and their other siege weapons. Ike has already done his recon on their enemy and knows that their forces number over 12,000 and they have some reserve forces too. Their general is from nobility, but he's a coward who only cares about his own safety and well-being. So if they find and capture him, the battle is over. Ike has already pled with the unit leaders not to take the general's life selfishly. Saphiro is currently handling the most important mission. Her job is to delay the rear forces. The leader of the unit catches her attention. While she prepares to engage them, the battle in the city rages on and Ike's superior battle acumen is on full display. His gun units set up perfect ambushes that deal damage and the other demons overwhelm the humans. Word reaches the general of their breakthrough of the gates, but the demons' counterattack is too potent, so the human second and third units have been wiped out. The lieutenant can see that the battlefield is getting too dangerous for the general and suggests they head back so that they can regroup. The general shuts him up and states that if they can't beat the demons 5-on-1, then they will increase it to 20-on-1. He can't afford not to bring down this tiny castle. The Delusion noble gives the order for an all-out charge, and he intends to join to boost troop morale. Word spreads throughout the army, causing them to get stimulated. The demons just look at them like they are fools. Ike casts a spell that opens a giant canyon which swallows up most of the approaching army. The general is rocked by the shift in the earth and falls off his horse. The mage appears before him, annoyed that so many of his men lost their lives trying to locate the noble. Ike is sure that the battle will end if he eliminates the general. His men will place the blame on him when they head back, so he gives the soft noble the option to save his own life if he sounds the retreat. The king of the dwarves doesn't want to waste this opportunity to exact his revenge on the noble for all he has done to him and his people. He hits him with a powerful strike of his axe and prepares for the final blow, but Ike stops him. The general is forced to surrender when it looks like the dwarf king is about to break the chains that bind him. He sounds the retreat, and all the humans drop their weapons and dip. The dwarf king is grateful for the mage's help. However, he warns Ike that the slimy noble will be back one day, and he will regret that he let him go. Ike could care less because by that time they will be much stronger. The demons demons announce their victory, and they can't believe that they defeated a force 10 times the size of their own. The human residents of the city also join the cheering. Jerome, Lilith, and Sati fight for Ike to acknowledge their efforts. The unit leaders watch on certain that Sapphiro made the right decision to choose the mage to lead this battle, and they are content having him as their comrade. Meanwhile, Sapphiro's standoff with the leader of the rear forces comes to an end when word of the withdrawal comes in. She lets him know that he gets to survive this time. He just smiles, stating that they will have to face each other in a later battle. She's impressed that Ike won this difficult battle and is sure that the Demon Lord will make her decision on him soon. Ike later has a post-battle meeting with Sapphiro where she commends him again for his victory. The mage plays the humble card and attributes it to the entire 7th Corps. Sapphiro outlines how she wants him to go to Zenobia for his next mission. She anticipates that the humans are likely to launch a full-scale attack on the demon army soon because he defeated the Alliance of Kings. Ike quickly realizes that their current problem is a lack of supplies. His superior is not surprised that he figured it out so rapidly. She's impressed with the increased crop production of his town of Ivalius. However, it's not enough to feed the whole army. The increase in the war's intensity has led to a demand in food. She wants Ike to represent her when speaking to the Federation about the establishment of a trade treaty with the demons. The mage can't believe that she has given him an impossible job because he's not sure if humans would be comfortable negotiating with demons given their current fight. Sapphiro assures him that she will take care of the rebuilding of the city when he tries to bring that up as an excuse not to go. Lilith and Jerome later get word of Ike's travels, so they head to his office to confirm this. The two plead to follow him, but he refuses and rather leaves Lilith in charge of the city security while Jerome handles the management of the city. They are both not happy with the responsibility they have been given, since they would rather be at the mage's side on his long mission. Ike later sets off with Sati, and the maid feels bad for the other two, but little does she know that they have found out that she has left with Ike, and they are livid. The mage feels their hostilities in the form of a shudder. He quickly moves on to explain that Zenobia is not a country but a trading city to the south. It is part of the Trade Federation, which is an alliance of cities with strong economies. Zenobia has crops and spices that are unique to the south. The two overlook the expansive city as they arrive. His ability to negotiate will determine the fate of the Demon Lord's army. Their attention is suddenly drawn when they hear some commotion nearby. The Redbeard pirates attack Uria's carriage and her guards get overwhelmed. A large man is on top form as he cuts his way through his obstacles. He opens the carriage and is stunned by how beautiful Uria is. The lady is surprised to see that her attackers are suddenly being taken out. Ike pops into her view to make sure that she's okay. The mage is surprised by how much she looks like Sati. The guards can't believe that a unit of the Redbeard pirates were defeated so easily. Ike heals the injured escorts as the bad guys dangle from being taken out. During that interim, Uria has already fallen in love with Ike on first sight. The lady thanks Ike for the save and introduces herself as the daughter leader of Zenobia, which shocks the mage. Unbeknownst to them, one pirate hides in the bushes listening to the interaction and excuses himself after learning this information. The duo joins her in her carriage for the remainder of the journey. She thanks them again as Ike and Sati introduce themselves. However, the mage gives a fake name to hide his identity. Uria reveals that she's just coming back from visiting a powerful suitor who wanted to marry her, but he looked like a smudged painting, so she rejected him. She blushes while stating that she's happy that she did. They arrive at Zenobia and Uria takes them straight to the leader Eltria, who also happens to be her mother. She already heard about his heroic feat, but wants to continue with her work while having the meeting with them since she's so busy. Ike is impressed with Eltria since she attained both leadership roles through her talent alone. She pleads with her daughter to excuse herself while she has a private discussion with her savior. As soon as the lady leaves, Ike's left jaw dropped when the leader cuts to the point asking him what a member of the Demon Lord's army wants with her. She came to this conclusion because there is no mage that goes by the name at the place he claims to come from. The guards also informed her of the powerful magic he was using. This information, coupled with the current war and the fact that he was hiding his identity, made it a no-brainer. Ike just comes clean and properly introduces himself. Elitria thinks that he has switched to the demon side, but the mage explains that he was raised by the famous demon Rombert. Elitria is taken aback to hear that the demons want to sign a trade treaty with her. She's a little reluctant since the demons intend to destroy humanity, so trading with them would be a big risk. Ike assures her that that would be true in the past, but he's fighting so that humans and demons can coexist. The commerce leader does admit that the current demon king is different from the others, but they are all still demons, so she rejects the proposal. Ike offers to take care of the Federation's trouble with the Redbeard pirates in return for the trade deal. The leader admits that the damage the criminals cause is equivalent to the annual budget of an entire city. Her position as the leader is at jeopardy if she doesn't solve this issue. She will consider consider the trade deal if he can get rid of the pirates, but she also has a second condition, which is for him to marry Yuria. She can see that Ike is smart and loyal, so she anticipates him being one of the leaders of the Demon Lord's army someday. So she thinks it would be an excellent idea for them to build a good relationship. Elytria is confident with her assumptions, as her intuition is always accurate. Their meeting is interrupted when a report comes in that the Redbeard pirates are attacking the port. Some rough-looking criminal gives the most diabolical order for them to grab the food and load the women onto the ship. The men of the city are cut down before they can resist. The guard instructs everyone to escape into the town. The pirates start to shoot their cannons into the city, which causes mass destruction. Captain Karasa makes it clear that they didn't give him any other option. Meanwhile, Ike accepts Eltria's conditions and rushes to the port, but the pirates have already fled. They help one guard out of the rubble who explains the situation. He also warns Ike that Karasa is a mage. Ike feels like they could prepare a counterattack for the next time pirates raid. He will need men and weapons for this to be a success. The mage starts to make his plans when Sati informs him of her intention to prepare meals. She heads to the kitchen where the cook lets her know that they would get into trouble if it was found that a guest was helping in such work. Yuria pulls Ike aside to let him know that she is elated that they are engaged and confesses that she fell in love with him at first sight. Hearing this takes him by surprise. His tamed reaction leads her to think that he doesn't have the same feelings for her, which makes her upset. Sati watches the interaction and is amazed by how the noble lady can express such feelings. However, she also has some admiration for Ike, so she feels bad at the thought of him getting married. The maid runs off when Ike notices that there is someone peeping on them. Sati heads to the market to get some ingredients to make food for Ike to make him happy and remind herself that she's his servant and nothing more. Meanwhile, one of the pirates mistakes Sati for Yuria and captures her. She regains consciousness to find herself surrounded by criminals. Her captor reveals that it's a gift for Karasa, and he hopes that he gets promoted to vice captain because of it. The maid finds a moment and makes a dash for the exit, only to come out to find herself on their ship in the middle of the ocean. She falls to her knees in despair as she realizes that there is nowhere to escape to. Her attention is drawn when Karasa comes out to ask if she's their latest captive. His subordinate rushes out to excitedly inform him that she's the daughter of Zenobia's leader. Karasa takes a closer look and lets him know that he got the wrong person. However, the blunder is not too bad because Karasa was thinking of getting a maid anyway. Just from his smirk alone, she knows that she's in trouble. Meanwhile, Ike makes his way to Eltria's office after getting word that his maid has been taken. He comes in to volunteer to look for her as Eltria gets briefed on the incident. The lady gives him a ship and some men to make the rescue attempt. Ike thinks about all the good moments he has had with Sati as he promises to save her. During that interval, Karasa has Sati tied up and changed into a more revealing maid outfit. The girl stands there embarrassed while the captain explains that her job is to make him happy. She thinks back to when Ike first enlisted her services and promised to protect her if she cooked and cleaned for him. So she offers to make her captor some food, which he agrees to. Sati is taken to the kitchen where she's guarded by two pirates. As she cooks the food, she comes up with a plan by first pleading for some strong happy juice to use as seasoning. She deliberately adds it to the hot pan, which causes a fire. One of the guards rushes to put it out, but she spills the rest of the drink on him, causing the flames to engulf him. Sati slips out as the other guard tries to save his colleague. She runs down the corridor and hides between some boxes before she's seen by some other pirates. The maid checks the contents of the boxes to find the stolen goods from the town. She decides to set fire to the ship to signal Ike since she's confident that he is looking for her. Shortly after, a lustful Karasa is informed to get his mind out of the gutter because his ship is about to burn down. Sati hides in a barrel and watches the mayhem she has caused, hoping that Ike will see her handiwork. She's eventually found and caught again as she makes a desperate attempt to escape. Karasa holds her down with his magic as one of his men swings his axe to take one of her legs as punishment for her actions. However, he's blown into the air before he can land the hit. Karasa demands to know who has interrupted them. Sati's eyes light up as Ike stands forward, restating his vow to protect her and letting the pirates know that they will pay for their actions. Sati makes her way to her master's side, and Karasa gives the order to eliminate Ike, but the mage rains down lightning and blows away the attackers before they can do their damage. The maid expresses her gratitude for the save as he makes sure that she's not injured. He lets her know that a master would never abandon his maid. As soon as he saw the burning ship, he knew that she believed in him to come and save her. Their war moment is interrupted by GOLB Roger. The B here stands for bootleg. Karasa can see that Ike is no ordinary mage. He fires a spell that Ike blocks. The captain commends him for finding the ship, but he makes it clear that Sati now belongs to him. He shoots a powerful water spell that Ike tries to dodge, but he's forced to block. Karasa fires it again, and it blows the back of the ship. He checks around and sees no sign of Ike, so he just assumes that he took him out. But he's surprised when the mage levitates up using the same water spell. Karasa has the look of dread all over his face as Ike unleashes his version of the same spell, but it is far more potent as it blows up the whole ship. The crew of the mage's ship watch in awe as Karasa lands on their deck like a wet fish. Ike follows not that far behind with a more elegant entrance. The rest of the Redbeard pirates are rounded up along with their boss. Ike commends his maid one last time just before they arrive back at town. Eltria is surprised that Ike managed to capture Karasa alive. The mage tells her that he prefers to not end life if it can be avoided. She finds such words to be strange coming from someone that is in the Demon Lord's army, but just as promised, she will give Ike the trade treaty. However, she wants it to be kept a secret since nothing good will come from the Alliance of Kings finding out. The two spend the rest of the time discussing the details of the treaty. All the while, the demons take some heavy losses at the front lines. Sapphiro gets healed while Fiorentina reports that they have 3 days worth of food at best. She suspects that they were tricked by the humans to attack the city so that they would activate this trap. Their intention is to starve the demons using a siege. Sapphiro gives the order to mount another attack. Fiorentina worries because she's wounded, but the commander doesn't intend to wait to meet her demise and plans to take as many down with her as possible. Meanwhile, at Zenobia, a party is being held for Sati and Ike to celebrate their win against the Redbeard pirates. The maid compliments Ike on his outfit, and he returns the sentiment, which makes her happy. Yuria tackles Ike with a hug, sad that he left her behind. He tells her to get off. Sati pulls her away while pointing out how inappropriate her actions are since people are watching. The maid fixes her master just before they are led to Eltria. Yuria asks Ike to ignore the comments of the people as they walk through the hall. Eltria drops the bombshell that the party is also their betrothal ceremony. Their marriage was part of the conditions. Just as the announcement gets made, the Demon Lord busts in to inform Ike to head back to the front lines immediately because Sapphiro is in trouble. The commander is shown surrounded by knights as she makes her last stand. The Demon Lord gives further context revealing how Sapphiro conquered Alesta. However, she was trapped when the enemy lured her inside the castle and surrounded her with 5,000 men, so she has very little time. The Demon Lord has made preparations to enable Ike's brigade to deploy. She makes it clear that Ike must be the one to save Sapphiro. During that interval, the leader of the human army, General Erudel, is informed that Alesta is about to fall. He feels like it's time for him to go in himself. More of his troops continue to attack as Fiorentina tries to rally some troops to push them back. She uses her scythe to cut down as many men as possible, but she's struck down by a powerful human mage. Meanwhile, Ike and Sati instantly transport home. Now that they have been to Zenobia, Ike is able to use his magic to travel there instantly. Jerome rushes in to report to Ike as soon as he learns of his arrival that the Alliance of Kings mounted an all-out attack on them. The mage goes out to see the damage as the pig reveals that they were saved by a random powerful girl who took out all the enemies alone. Ike immediately understands that it was the Demon Lord, and this is what she meant by the preparations were made. The mage heads back inside to take stock of the troops they have available. 100 were wounded, so they only have around 500 men. They also need to leave some forces to guard the city so that dwindles their numbers. Gunther interrupts to inform Ike that he feels like it's time for him to repay his debt to the mage. He pulls Ike outside to inform him that there are also 100 dwarven warriors in the city and they are eager to serve him well in battle. Ike is surprised because this battle doesn't have anything to do with the dwarves. Gunther believes Ike when he tells them that they will be given a homeland if the Demon Lord is to win. The mage is not sure if that will be possible the way their army is getting beaten now. Even if that doesn't happen, the king points out the home that Ike has built for them in this city. As dwarves, they never forget a debt, so they are willing to help. Some of the humans also come to offer their assistance because they must protect their own lives. Life in the city has been so much better under his rule. During the last attack, the demons were the ones that protected them. Jerome tries to dissuade Ike from accepting human help, but Lilith and Sati berate him for trying to tell the boss what to do when he's perfectly capable of making the right decision. The pig is made to apologize. Ike takes everyone's help and announces that half of their force will march to Alesta while the other half will stay and protect Ivelius. However, he gives the order to the humans who are staying to surrender if the Alliance of Kings attack. He is sure that they will be punished harshly if they are caught working with demons. Ike leaves with his bolstered fighting force on a 4-day march to Alesta. He's aware that he's still heavily outnumbered. The mage knows that he must pull some wonder tactic if they're going to get the win. He just hopes that Sapphiro can hold out till his arrival. The commander continues to fight hard, but they are too outnumbered. She decides to better position herself so that she can cast her wide area fire spell to defeat the humans. Sapphiro slips past the powerful human mage, but she's shot down by Erudel when she's about to cast her spell. She crashes to the ground, marking her defeat as she's surrounded. The humans take back the city and try to scavenge the demon parts to sell later. One of the orcs gets annoyed and tries to attack, but he's roasted by the human mage. He's determined to eliminate every demon from the world as he burns more. All the while Sapphiro resists her pain session to the point that the interrogator remarks on how tough demons are. The commander makes it clear that weaklings like them could never harm her. Irudel reminds her of their last encounter, and she wishes that she eliminated him back then if she knew it would have spared her this humiliation. He informs her that he has heard that one of her subordinates is very talented. The general is sure that such a guy will not leave his commander in such a state. Irudel reveals that his order is to annihilate the 7th Corps. Sapphiro demands that they end her after hearing this plan. It's too humiliating for her to be used as a pawn like this. The general doesn't intend to harm her till his plan is executed. All she can do is apologize to Ike from her seat. Over the next few days, the mage tries to come up with a plan as they travel. The rescue force finally arrive close to Alesta where they set up camp. The three races go through some battle formations. Gunther comes to inform Ike how cohesively the force is becoming despite the short time they have trained together. The Dwarf King also reports that their prototype weapons are ready and he wants to know when the order to attack will be coming. Since the situation is dire, Ike sent Jerome earlier that morning to do some recon. He's waiting for his report so that they will hold a conference to finalize their plan based on the information. Things switch to the pig, who ends up being loud himself as he shouts at his subordinates for talking. They get into position without incident as Jerome uses a monocular to examine the castle walls. The pig spots something and quickly returns to take Ike and the others to have a look for themselves. Ike and Gunther spot Sapphiro's garments hanged on the castle wall. Just from seeing it, Ike is confident that their commander is still alive. Furthermore, the mage is sure that it's not easy for the humans to feed 5,000 troops. This move is to make Ike attack so that they can end this fight. They still must deal with the other unit leaders in the Corps. Ike currently doesn't know the state that their commander is in. She may be too wounded to move. This means that they must attack even though they know it's a trap. Ike states that they must strike fast. He's going to describe their strategy at the conference. He asks all his advisors for their support as he announces that they will launch their attack at dawn. They let out a battle cry as they go to camp. That night, the rescue army gathers outside the walls, and Ike commences their attack with a powerful blast that blows up one of the watchtowers. The commotion catches the attention of Irudel. His lieutenant demands to know what is going on, but the general is already aware that this is Ike's doing. Some of the soldiers try to get into position, but they are taken out by more explosions. Soon after, the lieutenant has a report on the situation for Irudel. He feels like they can easily annihilate the 500 demons that oppose them. The general warns him to be careful and gives the order for all their troops to be gathered. The humans begin to fire giant stones from their catapults, which crushes a few orcs, but Ike can block some with his magic. He reminds his men that their job is to draw the enemy's attention until Sapphiro and the wounded can escape. The mage continues to block the volley of stones and arrows, so Irudel orders his men to stop firing. The general prefers not to fight a battle against demons at night even though they have the advantage. He's not ready to take significant losses. Irudel is surprised that the small army is not advancing because he expected them to frantically try to save the prisoners. The general figures that they might try a more precise rescue, so he gives the command for them to bolster their guard of Sapphiro. Irudel is interested to see what the Demon Lord's best magician can do. The order to increase security reaches the interrogator, and he promises to keep a close eye on their star prisoner. A shadow lingers after the messenger leaves and heads into the cell. The interrogator's attempted intimidation of Sapphiro comes to an end when Lilith pops out of the shadows and sucks the life out of his body. She apologizes to her commander for making her wait. Back outside, Ike begins to wonder if the humans have figured out his plan. Gunther is eager to know if it's time for them to make their move. He tells the Dwarf King to be patient. Ike decides to continue attacking to turn the attention back to them. Irudel wants his men to fight a battle of attrition, so they are to prepare their siege crossbows and catapults. He intends to wear down the demons before annihilating them, so they continue their volley. During that interval, Lilith locates Fiorentina along with some other demons and frees them by putting their guards to sleep. Their reunion takes a dark turn when Fiorentina takes an arrow to the back. The human mage brags that Irudel knows their whole plan. Lilith laughs just as the mage is about to give the order for them to be shot down. Lilith lets out a laugh because things are going just like how Ike explained. Jerome's appearance prompts Lilith to send Ike a magic signal. He teleports the human rifle unit, who unleash a volley of bullets at the knights. The orcs launch their attack as Sapphiro begs with Fiorentina not to die on her. She thinks her subordinate has met her demise when she loses consciousness. Sapphiro gets angry and explodes the arrogant human mage. The other soldiers run away terrified. Lilith tries to calm Sapphiro, who wants to go on a rampage. She only stands down when it's revealed that Ike needs her and the orcs to do something. Jerome also informs her that Fiorentina has not died yet, but she needs emergency treatment. The pig wants them to quickly execute execute the mission so that they can save her life. The general is shocked when he finally gets word there are invaders inside the wall and they appeared out of thin air. He composes himself as he guesses that this was done with magic. The commotion caused by Lilith's advance catches their attention. The orcs destroy all the catapults and siege bows as they also engage the soldiers. Jerome gives the final signal as he shoots a flare. Ike sees it and gives the flying demons the order to carry the barrel full of explosives. Jerome and Lilith alert everyone to evacuate so that they don't get caught in the blasts. Erudel gives the order for everyone to fall back when he notices that the flying demons are carrying new types of weapons. The bombs light up the city as the unfortunate knights get burned. The general signals a complete retreat from the castle when he hears that Ike is mounting a full-on attack. Before he leaves, Erudel promises to remember Ike's name. The demons take the city back, and later the other brigade leaders return from their battles and are confused as to why there are humans among them. They are perplexed to hear that they are part of Ike's forces. Sapphiro explains that they are citizen troops from Ivalia's and they are part of the reason why she's alive. The leaders are just happy to see that their commander is okay now. However, they are still stunned that all of this happened while they were gone. Sapphiro assures them that they shouldn't feel guilty since she was the one who sent them to other battlefields. Their meeting is interrupted when Jerome comes with a letter delivered by Erudel's messenger. The other demons want to attack him, but Ike asks them to wait till they read the letter first. The general commends Ike for his cunning plans and quick thinking. He was so impressed that he had to pen this letter. Erudel hopes that they will meet on the battlefield once more. Ike calls him a romantic, but Sapphiro feels differently since she lost so many men. The mage recaps the whole situation and concludes that without the dwarves' bombs they would not have won. Ike decides to pen a reply to Erudel commending his ability to assess the situation and realizing that withdrawal was the best option. He ends his letter wishing that they meet somewhere else rather than on the battlefield. Jerome passes it to the messenger. Sapphiro thanks Ike for saving her. The cries from everyone outside prompts the leaders to come out. Ike is surprised to see the demon lord and her dragon. Jerome is unaware of this and tries to direct her away like she's a child, but Ike pushes him to the side and reveals that the person standing before them is Darokuden, the demon lord. He apologizes on the pig's behalf. Jerome recalls that she was the girl who saved Ivalia's on her own. He's a little surprised that she doesn't look like the rumors. Everyone shows their respect as she commends them for their hard work, but she singles out Ike and gives him a promotion to commander of the 8th Corps. It is revealed that one day Ike would bring many races and unite the kingdoms. That brings the season to an end.